friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Megan and today we're doing a tag video, and being that it's October and it's finally the fall season, what better tag to do than the finally fall book tag. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who this was originated by. I've seen several different creators, so just know that I'm not really sure. I apologize for not having the specific source in the description or anything, but without further ado, let's jump into this finally fall book tag. The first question is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. So for this, I chose Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan. This is an Asian mythology book featuring the daughter of the moon goddess. Surprise, surprise. Essentially, the moon goddess was banished to the moon for a crime she committed, and she was sentenced to live on her own for this period of time. However, she broke that rule by having a daughter. And one day when the guards or police people come to investigate because they sense that something is a little off, she sends her daughter to land instead of being on the moon, to the land, to kind of live as a normal person. And so this daughter of the moon goddess is living as a servant to this family until one day when the prince finds her and they become super close friends. And it's got a love triangle, which I'm not normally a fan of, but this one was fantastic. It's got dragons, it's got mythology and magic. It's so enticing, the setting is so beautiful, and I really loved this book. In fall, nature is so beautiful, but it's also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but discusses a heavy topic. So for this, I chose Know My Name by Chanel Miller. This is Chanel's story following the Stanford sexual assault case, and it's this heavy delving into the entire court process and really being treated like she was victimizing herself when in fact she was a victim, but a lot of people were blaming her or saying it was her fault, and it was just not a good time. And just the court case in general was awful to follow. So this really delves into her experience, and obviously that's a very heavy topic, but she also does it in a way that is very digestible and honestly beautifully written. It was one of my favorite books of last year, and I highly recommend it for anyone. Fall is also the back to school season, so the next prompt is to name a book that is a nonfiction that you learned something from. I'm gonna be honest, I don't read nonfiction hardly ever, so this one was a struggle for me. I actually have not read this one yet, but it is a nonfiction I am looking to learn from, so it's kind of tweaking the prompt here a little. But my best friend Leah highly recommends that I read The Power of Now leading up to brain surgery. This is a delve into really focusing on what you can control and what it means to live now, as opposed to focusing on other aspects like the past and future, from what I understand. But she is constantly referencing this and constantly saying, oh, you need to read it, you need to read it. Like whenever I say something, she's like, you really need to read The Power of Now. So this is one that I'm really looking forward to. I'm gonna try to get it in before brain surgery next week, so we'll see. It's fairly short, but I think it will take a little bit of time to get through, so we'll see how I do. Fall is also a great time to keep warm and spend time with your friends and family and loved ones. So the next prompt is to name a household or a group or a family/friend situation and a book that you would love to be part of. I personally would love to be part of the Little Women family. I love these sisters. I love the familial aspect of it all. The mom is so wonderful with her daughters. The sisters are so fun together. I think it would be so fun to be Joe and Meg and Amy's sister. Obviously, of course, Beth is no longer with us, but she had the kindest soul, and this is just like one of my comfort reads, so I definitely would want to be part of the Little Women family. In fall, the colorful leaves are starting to pile up, so for this you are to show a pile or a stack of colorful fall colored spines again, tweaking this one a little, and I'm cheating because I'm just gonna lean back. But this shelf kind of has a lot of fall colored spines. When I think of fall, I often think of like the leaves foliage, like the reds and oranges and yellows. So obviously Electra and The Lies We Sing to the Sea. We've got Circe, which is black, but it's got that orange, like burnt orange foiling. We've got Blood of Troy here with the red spine. I think just this whole shelf in general, other than maybe like Song of Achilles and the Iliad, or sorry, the Odyssey, are very fall-esque, and I feel like that also fits with like the theme of Greek mythology. I think that's very autumnal. Like when I think of when I want to read mythology, it's definitely in that autumnal or winter time. So I think the mythology shelf is very fitting. Surprise, surprise, we're gonna tweak the next one a little. The prompt is fall is a good time to sit by the fire and tell like fireside stories. So to name a book where a character is telling a story, and I honestly couldn't like think of one off the top of my head. So I'm gonna tweak it a little bit and go with the Bridgerton series, because Lady Whistledown in a way is telling stories through her reviews of the events happening or the drama unfolding within the ton. So I'm gonna go with the Bridgerton series. In fall, the nights are darker, so we want to name a book that is a dark, creepy horror read. I don't read horror, so this was a little harder for me. The darkest I get is like spooky fantasy, so that's exactly what I'm going to show you. It's a spooky fantasy, and I would be remiss to not name a book by Nikki Paprato in any book recommendation video. So we're going to go with Bonesmith by Nikki Paprato. This is a dark fantasy following a bone-wielding warrior who pairs up with an enemy to save the prince. Incredible. The like atmosphere of this world is definitely that spooky vibe. There's a lot of undead, there's a lot of haunted forests, and then we also have enemies to lovers. It's just fantastic. It's pitched as Game of Thrones meets Gideon the Ninth, so I highly recommend this for a fall read. Not only are the nights darker, but the days are colder, so name a book that will warm someone up on a rainy day. This is always such a comfort read for me. This is The House in the Cerulean Sea. This is following a social worker who kind of takes care of children who are not so normal. So he ends up taking on a case that is a level 3 or whatever their biggest level, highest level is, and he goes to this house on the Cerulean Sea, or in the Cerulean Sea, where there are children that are very abnormal, such as the son of the devil, there's a fairy, there's a gnome. Like, they're very fun, and it's really delving into like don't judge a book by its cover, and I just adored this book so much, and it made me laugh, it made me cry. It's such a cozy fantasy read. Luckily for us, fall returns every year, so name a book that you want to reread soon. For me, that would be Fourth Wing. There's actually several books I want to reread soon. You can view those in the books I'm taking with me for my brain surgery recovery in this video. Fourth Wing is definitely one I want to reread in anticipation of Iron Flame releasing on November 7th. This is a Dragon Academy, enemies to lovers, trials, just so much happening in this world, and I absolutely adored it. It is definitely worth the hype in my opinion, so Fourth Wing is definitely one I want to read again soon. And finally, in our fall tag, the atmosphere of fall really leans into that cozy reading night, so show us your cozy reading essentials. I'm not someone who gravitates necessarily to accessories when I read. I typically want a blanket, just a cozy blanket. I don't have a specific one I gravitate to. Here's one I'll show you just for fun here. And then I typically like to have some sort of pillow if I'm laying down to like prop the book on. But overall, I'm not really like, I don't like to eat. I don't like to drink tea or hot cocoa or anything. I'll have water, like my water bottle. But overall, I don't have like specific accessories that I gravitate to. I can't really do candles because we have cats. and I have to be careful of them playing with the flames because I have an orange cat and he has -3 brain cells. So just overall, I don't really have accessories, but I love that cozy reading vibe, so it is definitely one of my favorite times of year, and I will definitely be leaning into the cozy reading vibe this year. So let me know what you guys would answer for these questions down below, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, friends.